I tell you what, I told you, and I've said this again, you know, Adam Band, if he gets there as co-prime minister, will have the whip hand. The International Monetary Fund, the IMF, today has issued a stark warning for whomever forms government that our economy is headed for a sharp downturn. The IMF's downgraded our GDP growth projections. These are the government's projections to 1.6%, down from 2.1%. That's what they just put out 6 months ago, while also projecting that inflation will rise above budget expectations. Inflation's the interesting one because I think everyone's out there saying that we're going to get this almost bankable cut in the official rate, so down will go mortgages. Not so if inflation returns.
No, well, we can't get inflation down until we reduce government spending, which is locked in at around 27% of GDP, 2% higher, or more than 2% higher than it was before the pandemic. So as long as we are spending money, inflation pressure will be there on inflation, and this is hurting families. Isn't it interesting, Peter? Now we have defence on the agenda, finally, in this campaign, as you pointed out earlier in the show. And now at last we have the economy and fiscal management on the agenda, thanks to the IMF. And let's hope we have a serious discussion on this, because clearly for the future of the country, those two issues are crucial, and yet we haven't been talking about them so far in this campaign.
Let's go back to the PM and his extolling of his Catholic faith this week. He's got to be pretty embarrassed today then by his Labor candidate, the Queensland seat of Flynn, Helen Maddle, who in now deleted tweets from 2020 accused the late Pope Francis of providing ongoing support, this is her quote, for pedos. Here was the PM today when asked about this.
She made a mistake. That shouldn't have happened. And people, if they go back through their history in social media, I'm sure there's lots of people who have made things they regret. She has said she regrets it, and that's entirely appropriate.
I've said this before, Caroline, and it makes, I guess, your point there about Jewish Labor MPs powerful as well. Religion for the hard left is a veneer. It gets dragged out in election campaigns. The Prime Minister's using it now. Others are using it. But these guys sneer at people of faith. And when in government, all the things they promise, like religious freedom protections, they never eventuate.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's pretty rich for Albanese to be coming out and defending this candidate. You know, his own party have attacked Andrew Hastie, who I know is coming up on the program, over past comments he's made. So there seems to be a double standard. Don't talk about past comments when it comes to our own people, but it's fine, it's open slather when it comes to the other side. But on your point about their real religious convictions and their personal convictions, I mean, you only have to look at Anthony Albanese's past comments that he's made. He called Tony Abbott a mad monk, as I'm sure you remember. He's criticised Scott Morrison for mixing church and state. He does seem to have a deeply held contempt almost for people that have this deep religious faith. So I think it's very difficult to see what he's saying and what he's said since the Pope's death and take it seriously or treat it with that it's authentic.
Nick, just quickly, early voting, I mean, it's at record levels today. The numbers are coming in from the AEC. In the past, it's always been a bit of a point that when people come in hard and early, the government's on the nose, right? The government's on its way out the back door. Do you read anything into this rise in pre-polls today?
I think it's a bad thing that we've got so much pre-polling, Peter, but I'm not convinced that this is the people who are voting are the undecided voters. It seems to me that the voters that are not sure, that are undecided, will wait till the last minute. The people who have been going in for the last couple of days clearly are people that knew who they were going to vote for. So I don't think we can read too much into the result from this, except to say that there is a large number of undecided voters, a big soft vote for Labor, and that could still come the coalition's way.
Just quickly, Caroline Bradfield, you've been out there talking to the Teals and a bit of skullduggery going on.
Well, look, the candidate there, Nicolette Buller, she's had a very interesting few weeks. First, there was the hairdresser scandal where it emerged that she'd been banned from her local hairdresser after she made inappropriate sexual comments to a 19-year-old apprentice. And then I revealed yesterday that she had made these anti-Semitic comments on her social media page. She's blamed those comments on a volunteer. And then also this issue about power poles that she's been plagued with too. Her cord flutes have been all over the Pacific Highway, major highway here in Sydney, on power poles. Ausgrid's issued her a warning, but she's defended it, saying she's received legal advice saying that that's okay to do, and everyone else does it. She won't take them down. She's holding steadfast. It'll be interesting to see what Ausgrid did it. She defended those decisions, but she was pretty apologetic about some of the other stuff. This is what she had to say about those anti-Semitic posts.
It was an absolutely awful, disgraceful anti-Semitic post, and it was done by a volunteer. It was not my views, and I apologised. I think political leaders right across the spectrum have a responsibility to call out and stand up against anti-Semitism, and that's exactly what I will do if I have the privilege of being elected.
Interesting. I've got some things to tell you tomorrow night about her history as well.